Vini Jr. has definitely been having his best performance in the World Cup so far. 4 goals and an assist for him through those 3 group stage matches. Because I feel like Vini Jr. obviously being one of the top players coming into this World Cup, but I feel like because everybody has really been on their game, Marco, I feel like maybe his performances have maybe been going under the radar a little bit.
He was a man of the match in every single one of Brazil's games. Just to think about how crazy that is. Only Messi has more goals than him so far at the World Cup. And there were 2 names that I circled coming into this World Cup that I think they had a big chip on their shoulder. Kylian Mbappe and Vini Jr. Because of the seasons that they have, because of the narratives, because of all the talk of Real Madrid. And Vini has proven that this is his team. There's still a lot for Brazil to do in this World Cup, but so far what I've seen from him is exactly what I expected when Carlo Ancelotti came in. He knows exactly which strings to pull to get the best out of Vini Jr. I love that he's the center point as well. Even Neymar after the game. Of course, a lot of storyline is Neymar coming in. He said, no, this is Vini's team. He is the superstar. He's who we're all fighting for. That is what we want. Because for me, everything that Vini's been through, he's had his downs, but he still should have deserved the Ballon d'Or, in my opinion, a few years ago. But he can change a game on a dime. He's still capable of that. So I love seeing the best of Vini Jr. in this World Cup.
Yeah, this is exactly what Brazil wanted when they hired Carlo Ancelotti, to get the best out of their stars, to give Brazil a tactical framework that allowed them to show their creativity. Let's be solid in the back, and then in the final third, let's show the ginga, the joy. You see a smile on Vini Jr.'s face, and when Vini Jr. is either really pissed off or really happy, that's when you get the best out of him, and we're seeing the really, really happy Vini Jr. And the supporting cast for Brazil has been fantastic. Ryan coming in. Bruno Guimaraes was fantastic. As a unit, Brazil have been performing, and when Vini Jr., I feel, doesn't have that all pressure to do everything himself, he's been really, really good and comfortable.
Yeah, and it's not like they've spent that many games under Carlo Ancelotti. When you take a look at Vini's performance before Carlo Ancelotti came and after. Before, in 39 appearances, he had just 6 goals and 5 assists. In just 13 appearances now under Carlo Ancelotti, 7 goals already and 4 assists. Witty, what is Ancelotti doing to truly get the best out of Vini Jr.?
I think the number one thing for him to have done with Vini is to kind of release him of that pressure a bit, because we show those figures. There was only 9 international goals in 48 appearances coming into this World Cup for Vini Jr. You mentioned, why is he going under the radar? He's going under the radar because we had almost written him off as a player to really focus on at this World Cup. He had never performed in the yellow shirt of Brazil. We hyped him into 2022. We hyped him into 2024 at the Copa America, and he just didn't show up. And so I think we had sort of failed to consider him as a player who can perform at this level because he hadn't really done it for Brazil specifically. What Ancelotti has done is what he has always done, is put players in good positions. I think the number one thing for them, from an actual tactical standpoint, is that normally Brazil go into every game thinking that they should dominate possession. They should dominate the ball. They should dominate the game. Even against Scotland, who aren't a very good team with the ball, it was still Scotland with a majority of the possession in the early parts of the first half. And what does that do? It releases Vinicius Jr. into space. And that is the number one area in which he thrives. He thrives in counter-attacking situations. He thrives with space to run into, attacking a fullback one-on-one and getting the better of them, because there simply is no stopping him in open space in a one-on-one situation. So I think for Carlo, the number one thing is to get him into the spaces that he thrives in the most, and no manager would know that better than Ancelotti, considering how well Vini played for him at Real Madrid.
And Ancelotti, all he did is, this is what he's done his whole career. He makes sure you're solid defensively, he makes sure you're organized, and he gives freedom in the final third. It reminds me of Real Madrid in a lot of ways, where they're made up of moments. They're made up of magical individual performances. I will say I'm not 100% convinced on Brazil when they have to go into the next round, even if they have to play a Japan, for example. I think Japan could give them a really good fight. But this is exactly what we wanted to see from Brazil when you got Ancelotti. Tactically, this is the sort of shape, and you're getting the most out of your players. And he's even been so smart in how he's handled the locker room with Neymar and giving him minutes and making sure that everyone's involved.
And Marco, you mentioned 2 players that have chips on their shoulders, Mbappe and Vini Jr., obviously on the same team. But it's been really interesting to see those 2 players in their own teams occupying the space that they want to occupy without somebody kind of coming in.
I would add Jude Bellingham into that conversation as well with 100%. England. He is thriving in the space in which he wants to play. It really goes to show sort of how flawed in some ways the game plan for Real Madrid is, that they all are getting in each other's way.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the fundamental flaw of the team, which I'm not certain a manager can fix. That's obviously a conversation for another day.
Yeah, Aaron, moving forward, it's most likely that Brazil will go on to face Japan. And I feel like we have been seeing this Brazil team continue progressing in each and every game. I think that game against Morocco, I felt like Vini was truly, really the only one on the pitch that was doing too much for Brazil. And then we've seen more and more players come in. So how are you looking at that potential matchup against Japan? Because that's kind of scary.
Marco hinted at it a little bit, but this Japanese team is a really, really quality side. They can really hurt Brazil. I think if it does end up being Japan against Brazil, it's going to be a really, really fun matchup, really highly technical. I think it'll be high energy. But this Japanese team is not someone I don't think anyone really wants to face them with the quality they have. They're so tactically astute as well. But I think that will be an incredible match for the neutral. But I don't think Brazilians will sit there and think we can walk over with Japan, because it'll be a really tough match for them.
Yeah, Marco, this was one that you called out. When you saw this, you're like, ooh.
Because I guess growing up, you say Brazil. Brazil used to win matches before they even stepped on the pitch. And the fact that we're saying it's so close shows how countries have gotten closer. The gap has been closer. Also, Brazil, not the same Brazil that we grew up with. So it's going to be such an interesting battle to see how far this Brazil team can go. Expectations, I think, are lower than in the past for a Brazil team. But nevertheless, you see some of the ways that they're trying to move forward, the players that they're getting involved as well. If a game is tight and you could throw in Neymar for the last 20 minutes of a game and then maybe go into extra time, again, just the management that Ancelotti has brought to this team so far, I think, has been spot on. You could only play who you're in front of, and so far they passed that test.
I think if you rank the teams at this World Cup, you would put Brazil and Japan, probably the two of them, in the top 12, the top 10. It is a vastly overqualified round of 32 match. We will see teams play each other, not to overly single out teams, but Canada and South Africa are playing each other in the round of 32. You compare that to Brazil and Japan, it's worlds apart. So
Netherlands,
really
Morocco could be another one.
Right, exactly. The C and F are basically paired up. So no matter what, there's going to be two bangers that come from those two groups matching up. So in comparison, it really is just the misfortune of the draw that one of Japan or Brazil will be going home in the round of 32 because they don't deserve to.
Yeah, in terms of Brazil's opponent yesterday, Scotland, I mean, if the World Cup trophy could be given to the best fan group right here, like it would have been Scotland 2 days into the tournament. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. And so Scotland is waiting to see if they can still advance. We still have 3 days left to see if they will be able to make it. But even their coach feels like they're going home. They don't feel like they have too good of a chance to advance.
If you did the math before the tournament, I was looking at some of the simulations. If you're on 3 points and -2 goal differential, it's a very difficult mountain to climb. And you start looking at the scenarios that you need to play out in order for that to happen. Their paths are running out. And honestly, the bigger result to that end is what happened in Group A last night, which we'll get to later on in the show. But South Korea being a third-place finisher and being better than them, if South Korea had taken care of business against South Africa, Mexico took care of business against Czechia, that third-place finisher would be out. And so all of a sudden you're looking below you. Belgium still has to play a reasonably straightforward game, I believe, against Iran in their final game of the group. They could win that.
Congo take on Uzbekistan.
Even Senegal, who are rock bottom there, they play Iraq in their final game. If they win by 2 goals, they're above. When they win by 1 goal, they're above Scotland. So I think their paths have narrowed. The percentages give them about a 37% chance. I think that's charitable. I think they're likely heading out of the tournament.
Not looking good, man.
No.
Also, they didn't compete. They didn't fight. I'm very they're one of my disappointments of the tournament so far is the Scotland team if they don't progress it any further. Just because the way that they conceded goals too, the way that they were gifting goals to the Brazilian team, and even the one that was taken back as well. You're Scotland. You need to at least make it tough, compete, make it more difficult. Scott McTominay coming off such a phenomenal last 2 years with Napoli. I thought he would have had a better tournament. He didn't really show up in the big moments. So I agree with you, Claudia. If their fans could win the trophy, if not for their fans,
the World
then
Cup
forget
final
about
would be
we
between the Dutch fans and the Scottish fans, probably.
Maybe the South Koreans.
South Koreans, Mexicans.
The Scots gave absolutely nothing. And look, the fact that they even are in with a shout of advancing with 3 points and 1 goal is kind of an indictment of the format as well.
They had a tough group too, though.
Yeah, they did.
Right?
They did. But also, I think the Haitians probably outperformed expectations.
Yeah.
They genuinely competed in that game. I thought they deserved maybe a point from that game. But the Scotland fans are thinking going in, not only do we have to win that game, we probably have to win it by multiple goals because you know you're not going to have the goal differential on the basis of playing Morocco and Brazil, and a 3-0 result proved as such.
Yeah.
If we were going off vibes, we could throw Scotland in over Czech, maybe. Like,
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, we can get to the Czechs later.
I just want to get Witty started a little bit. Look at the anger behind his eyes.
The way that Grella pissed off Australia, what he's going to do to Czechia.
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.